My name is Brandon and I'm a full-time artist. I've been able to be an artist full-time for over a year now, and I make all sorts of different kinds of art. I do high-rendered oil portraits for families and pets. I do murals, both my own personal style and also commercial. I do prints. I make paintings, devotional pieces, customs for people's homes, clothing. I perform art live. I was even flown to Miami earlier this year to perform spontaneous poetry at a hotel on South Beach for Valentine's Day. And the way that my life is now, it feels like I'm living the dream that I've always had. And like any artist trying to turn pro, it can be quite a struggle. And it can feel pretty bad to not know where your money's coming from next month, let alone next year. But it feels like the more devotion I am into the art, the less fear I have. Because the universe, as it always has, seems to, no matter what, show up when you need it.
In 2015, I had a yet-to-be-determined psychotic break. And I say yet to be determined because nothing's ever actually broke yet. But what spoke through me was an experience that I called love space. And it was like the complete opposite of a panic attack. It was some sort of ultimate ecstatic contact toward what I felt so ultimately true. And it's nothing new, but to be is to love, and to do is to who you really are. When I was a kid, I played WCW versus NWO on N64. And when your spirit bar became full enough, you were able to score special mode and perform your most ultimate move. And it felt like that. It felt like something bloomed, like something clicked or became unencrypted. It lifted me into a way where I was able to play a note or hula hoop a feeling for 2 weeks, and I produced my first real piece of art. I called it The Absurdity of Now. And it was the shadow of our collective moment, swelling in a cascade of layered images I collected from sketchbooks and journals I kept while working for an oil company in Dallas, Texas. Like I always wanted to be an artist, felt something deep but kept hidden, musician, like a star mission mapped within, wishing one day I would be untrapped, like I'd actually pursue it. A vision, I knew it, I just couldn't ever do it, like start the engine and burnt my friggin' hands. Push mower, pull motor, can't, rather sleep. Scared to greet my own self-defeat, my engine heat was too much for me. I just thought ignorance was bliss. Just try to exist, shut off faucets, like too much for me. I couldn't breathe before bed 14. Internal, external, uncertainty, scared to think. Too claustrophobic in a space like anaerobic, the panic sink like I was on the brink of an infinity. I learned to just limit me. I learned to be unconscious, like sleepwalk through days. That real world, too toxic, I'm nauseous. So don't wake up, just cruise on by. Float through life, why even try? If I did, it felt like I would get too wide. My mind went high, ups and downs and die, oh why? Like, what is self? Who the heck am I? Multi-dimensional? Skip a conventional route, 1 foot in but dragged 1 foot out. Traded what purpose was for all my doubts, thinking about. Too much for me. Like what's underneath? What's outside a brief history of time, the universe in a nutshell? I'm crawling into my dad's bed tonight. Like my dad had light. My dad was bright. He made me feel like everything was gonna be alright. Like my Obi-Wan Kenobi wand to wipe away whatever fears came for me. Like my dad adored me. My dad restored me. My dad pardoned me from ideologies wrote. Like my theology was given impact by what his hippie grass had roped. Contacted 19, chasing the Cali sun while he was panhandling for some change to be spared some, and he grew his hair and he put squares on his tongue. Avid to seek that type of truth that helped trail my own dips and to be here now. Ram Dass house for the way it is. Cans of it, dripping into what lips I ended up taking advice from. And the spice from his stew was gourmet. His mom, who passed away when I was 12, had a way of wealth and culture and class a special act of life, like happy and laugh. She had the grip to grasp the world, and me and my brother were curled by that creativity. Like our nativity was positive, pearled from the luck to have it as we did, being outside a box with no lid. Just two cool kids, and we sort of knew it. Blessed to use it. Grew it like the pot him and I planted when I was a teen. Bought seeds from England that came in the back of an Andrew W.K. CD. I was always intrigued by the mystery of things. Stuff that was prohibited, unsanctioned. I sank into shows like UFOs, the birth of civilization, watching X-Files in my mom's bed, fantasizing about all sorts of things in my head. Carl Sagan's Cosmos, you know, the way he made it seem like magic. So I always had a habit of seeing a bigger picture, but the fixture of having to be a part of a classroom was really hard for me. Like, don't these teachers know we're in a dang galaxy? Your rules shouldn't apply to me. I'm gonna keep reading Dancing Wu Lee Masters. Theoretical physics applied through Eastern factors of thought. I was just after the spot of searching for my own answers, but caught into the web of having to be a citizen. Like it shattered my spirit, like I had autism when I had to do things without my own purpose to steer it. So I usually just ignored things that caused me interference, and my dad most certainly always gave me the clearance, sometimes overly so, but he just held a place for us to grow that never left heaven. A hopeless optimism that let him, no matter what, believe everything was going to be okay, like life rowing into directions downstream with no currents to ever really lead us into troubled waters. And so the gratitude that erupted in me in 2015 was for my father. And I remember calling him on the phone being like, Dad, I just made a piece of art worth $1 million. I'm a millionaire, and I meant it. Having made a piece of art beyond any way I could have dreamt it, and money didn't even exist where it was true. And if they could print money, so can you. And my dad said, that's incredible, Brandon. But are you ever going to graduate? And I go, yes, but you don't understand. I'm moving back home to cocoon myself and make art. I think I'm enlightened. And my dad said, you may very well be enlightened, but you still need a job. And it's funny. At that time, I had a great job, even though I was still 2 hours short of graduation. Like, I had failed an art history class. Even though I got A's in all the tests, I just never signed the sign-in sheet to lectures. And at the time when I failed, I thought it was like a symptom of some sort of system that prevents you from success. Like, I thought I learned what the teachers were there to profess, but at the time I just didn't know how bad my habits were in place of what my rationality could suggest. Like, starting in high school, I would always skip class when the homework I didn't do was due. And I always planned on buying the time I bought to finish the thought of thinking about doing it too, but I usually just said screw it and wouldn't even begin. So I never really knew how to end something either. And like, finishing things are hard, so I would always tend to discard all the stuff that started with bursts of inspiration. Like, in the moment I didn't doubt the solution to the sensation, but I just let it cave in. And that's why that piece meant so much to me. Like, I even failed my most important class of college because I didn't go to a barbecue on my teacher's property, and it was one too many absences. I was the first person in the history of the class to fail. And honestly, I think I failed in part because I never knew how to start my engine, or like bridge connection between my ideas and actualizing them through creation, or the willingness to participate in the flow of it all. And that's why that art piece meant so much to me, because I had never done that before. I had no idea what I was going to do after school. But I remember having a vision, or like a sensation, or like a moment of intuition where I knew everything was going to be cool. I got a job working for my friend's older brother's oil company he started. And everything played out so luckily, like parted from the past, and I was able to exist in a way that felt like, alas, I don't have to worry about anything that had always made me sweat. I didn't even have a resume yet all of my hierarchy of needs were met. I even got a bonus check for $26,000 the day before my 24th birthday. And with all those pesos, you would have thought I was Jeff Bezos rich. But it still didn't compare to the wish that had been awakened in myself. It was something greater, something deeper, something realer, something clearer to see than at any other time in my life. And whatever it was like a dharmatic suggestion to go into this new obsession and take a test, or like go into the yes of who I was, create from a knowing that space of love, but do it in a world I never really felt a part of, whatever never really wanted to show up to. And I drove to Kansas City from Texas at a clear nexus in my life to shed light into what had always averted me or hurted me. What was I trying to find? That artist space in myself. Why was that abandoned or never truly embraced? What is it? What was it? Why was it so hard? Why have I been so afraid? What had I always felt deep but kept hidden? What was at the core of the shadow? What was I moving towards and through? What kept me away from being myself? What was I afraid of? What were all my traumas? How do I actualize my full being in life with it? What was I supposed to find? And I started to pull into everything like threads in my mind down into the abyss. Like what was there that I had missed? Like finding all the leaves to the sensitivities of my tree, what needs light reliefing. And I had believing in it in such a way, it was the only thing that mattered. And I almost wanted to just reach for this competence and clarity, and there was such a dare in me to do it, creating art in the process that would allow for a future where I could really pursue it, to be there, to be here, to be seen, to not have to declare myself anything other than what I am, have artistic license to be whatever it is I am. Like born to swim, and so I swam, but damn, I had no idea what would happen. And you're digging everything up, it's like your lawn can look like shit. There's mud everywhere, dude. But it was like, no, I'm just trying to grow this flower I found that bloomed. Why can't it grow everywhere? But when you try to get to the root of things, understanding, looking into the soil, you can dig holes, and then you can just dig one for yourself. And when the dirt can get over your head, you can feel like you can't see the light anymore. Because it's like when you start to explore every trauma, every drama of your mind in the matter, it feels like it can shatter you, like going blind and trying to read Braille and being like, what are these dots? And the worst of it can come in the deepest of your knots, when you try to blame someone or something else for why it is the way that you are. When you're so sure of yourself, you can act towards heaven with pride. And that brings down calamity. And it's hard not to fall into that fear of the frame, of that deep and that shame, and just trying to keep your flame or connect to the compass that always had the aim. But the deeper I got into myself, the deeper I got into everything. And the deeper I got into the dark, the more I became. And the harder it was to embrace where I was, trying to remember the light surrounding the tunnel I was in, what I believed to be at the end of it all. But I was like in the fall when I was just trying to have an autumn. Getting caught in the cobwebs, cotton I was just trying to clear out. And now he can't get out of bed like he's 16 again, making up excuses in his head like he's 16 again, feeling the pain of my artistic wane like I was 16 again, isn't looking for a real job because he said he's on an art sabbatical, is cocooning. Brandon's nuts, he's radical, he's loony tuning, dude, he's lost his damn mind. Rather sleep, scared to greet. Engine heat, too much for me. And so I left Kansas City, and I drove to Houston to try to live with an ex-girlfriend for 2 weeks until I left my leased car at the Houston airport, and I got on a plane to LA. In a way, I was at my worst mentally well. And I wouldn't wish that hell on my worst enemy. And what you find at the bottom is just yourself, and no way to escape it. And to act towards heaven with pride brings down calamity, but to kill for meat the oxen of the most exalted son, that's soul destruction. So from that abyss, thank God, I remembered my function. It's not about how great I am in the art, it's about the heart. In 2017, I moved home again and just gave into whatever it was I couldn't escape from. It felt like I got grounded, but I just needed to get grounded. And every time I felt like I couldn't make it, something was there to remind. A synchronicity, my family, a way to find more humility, to keep listening, even when it felt like I had complete amnesia over everything I was doing. I just kept moving and trying to tell the truth, eating the right foods. I didn't have any money, but at least I could have wealth in my temple, and I made art. Lots and lots and lots of art. stuffed in voice memos, notes, poems, thoughts, songs, writing, journals, images, essays, explorations. One day, one way, I knew I would be okay again. I just kept finding more and more information to guide and translate the path and the initiation that I had become enveloped by. And so in July 2022, I had an art show where I showed up perhaps really for the first time. I called it the closing of my ceremony. It was in a repurposed military tent an art group called Nomada created, with the intention of transforming the space from one of war into one of peace. I displayed years of art and made a spoken word speech about my experience, a kind of trauma release as performance piece in front of people aligned together in a community brought by the vision of the art, to create pockets of coherence, to allow for people to have an opportunity to transcend the ordinary. A month before the show, I was invited to make a mural on this wall. I had never done anything close to the magnitude of the size, but I trusted the art. And when I showed up that afternoon in June in 100-degree heat, I had no idea what I was going to create, but I just trusted it to come through. The Greeks have a concept called eudaimonia, that everyone in fact is born with a genius, a guardian spirit, a force of nature seeking to manifest through the individual's soul, something greater to you but equal to the whole of who you really are and who you're supposed to be, the carrier of the blueprints to our lives. And in times of crisis, it accelerates the calling to listen to what seed is being grown through our hearts and lives so we can show up in our own unique natural way of being and serving the world, to learn to play the instrument of who we are so we can join the great band we are all playing in to tend to the garden. And when the flower of your life blooms, it can become art. And it's our responsibility to share it.
And how lucky am I to have felt it? How lucky am I to have felt that? Because through it can bear all suffering. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Through it, I have hope. I have eternal optimism. Even if from the safety of knowing God, God's dream. That's all anything ever is. And we are unique fingerprints. We are instruments. We are living vessels. We have souls. And each soul has a purpose. Each soul has a meaning, a reason, a Dharma. And act into the will of the Father. A seed of a flower, of a tree. And if we can listen to it, and be devoted to it, that is the key. And I've dedicated my life to whatever mine is. And we are all worthy of listening to a miracle that understands a way to love, a way to love. Gratitude. 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 And what's crazy about my purpose is every time I want to share any of this, I stop myself. But it's the entire purpose of any art that I make. And I'm so lucky, bro. Because I get to make it. I get to make it. Quincy Hall made it, bro. He from KC. The Heartland. I'm from Kansas. I'm from Kansas. I'm from Kansas, bro. Ooh-wee. 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 What kind of Dharma cookie would this be? What kind of Dharma cookie would this be if I put whatever I just recorded and sent online? Why not find out? Why not find out, bro? Why not find out?
Why not share, bro? Why not share, bro? Because I judge myself. Honestly, a lot of it is like thinking I look ugly. Because when I was a kid, I had a friend who molested me and would make me feel ugly. Would call me fat, that I'm never gonna get married, and gay, even though he was the one who was touching me, bro. But it's like, maybe I'm a little gay. I let him do it. I also didn't have a clue what that meant at the time. I was in second grade, homie. So be in the face-to-face with is trying to stop you to be face-to-face with what is trying to stop you. It's quite terrifying, honestly, because you realize you're in a warfare of sorts. Actually, I'm gonna spit that out.
Shout out to any fucking nefarious group, the CIA, totalitarian states. Anything that try to poison us or anything malevolent at all. I don't know if you're real, but I could bring me home. Let's fucking go, bro.
You can't take my soul. You can't take my soul. STMTS, he never died. He just had a moment, yeah. He caught a vibe. Rolling through my city, I don't hide. Feeling what I'm thinking, yeah. I come alive. I was underground, I was down, I was found, nearly breaking. When it comes around, I feel your sound, I feel it now. I think I'm making, baby, this is breathing. There ain't no ceiling. Oh, can you feel it? Maybe this is healing. I just found my reason, the way my seasons. I think I need them, babe, I feel amazing, yeah. Really get into it, come and do it like me, yeah. I just get into it, come and do it like me, yeah. Mama really knew it, come and do it like me, yeah. Just a newer fluid, come and do it like me, yeah. You can take my soul. 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 Everybody know it now. Come and do it now. I'ma show it